But ironically, I probably did the most painting I've ever done in that studio. To be fair, I did paint in there during a pandemic when I couldn't see anyone, and the only thing I could do for fun was paint. So that's also a reason why I was able to paint so much in this room, even though it wasn't like the perfect of scenarios. Hi, my name's Armida. This is me, and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be rating / reviewing my last painting studios. So a big part of being a painter, at least for me, is having a space that you can create that you feel comfortable in. You got all your necessary supplies and tools that you need to create. And I am so thankful that I've been able to have this wonderful studio that I'm in right now for almost a year. It's almost like the year anniversary of Christian and I moving into this place. And so I thought, what a better way to celebrate this wonderful space than to look back at all my past painting studios and comparing them basically to this one. And maybe chatting about like the different situations that I was in when like trying to start, being a painter, trying to do this full time, and getting comfortable, figure out what works, what doesn't work, what you just have to deal with at the time. Everyone starts from somewhere. So yes, 1 year of this wonderful studio. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me, beautiful studio. I love this space. I love having just a room that I can create. I could just come in here and I can just work, or I can film videos for you guys. So thank you so much for sticking around and seeing me grow in this space. So right here next to me, I have my laptop with all the old photos and videos of my past studios. I think I have, wait, let me count, 7. I have like 7 different main places that I used to paint before I guess 7 including this one, so 6 before this place. Kind of like one for every year that I've been taking this very seriously, if you think about it, like, because I always say like, oh yeah, I've been painting oil painting seriously for about 7 years, so it's kind of like I have a different studio for every year, even though I don't think it exactly lines up that way. But yeah, so 7 painting studios, and we're gonna rate them today. I thought about this a lot. I was like, okay, like, how am I gonna rate them? Like, what kind of criteria are we gonna be rating them as? And so what I thought about was, okay, first, number 1, space. How big the area is. Did I have enough space to actually paint comfortably? The best amount of space that you can have is, a place to have a nice, intimate relationship with your painting, your canvas, and then also be able to like step back and view it from a different angle. That's very important. It's really good to step back and evaluate how the whole canvas looks like from far away. So we're rating them on space. Number 2, privacy. I'm like, privacy is very important to me, or at least to be able to paint. If I'm constantly worried about someone peering over my shoulder, it can mess up my flow of work. So privacy is like, was there a lot of people coming in and out of the space? Could people pop by and make me feel intimidated? So yeah, number 2, privacy. And then number 3, natural lighting. It's kind of like it's a very good blessing if the space does have natural lighting. So I feel like that's very important to like consider with like all these options. Was like, so I feel like if you're painting in natural lighting, like that's like best case scenario. Of course we got lamps, we got lights, you could always do that. But if the place is super super dark most of the time, it can really not make you feel too creative. At least that's just for me. I mean, these are my studios. I'm rating them. This is just a system I made. So, and then lastly, coziness, a cozy factor. Like, more, maybe not really cozy, but I feel like that's the best word to use. Maybe like comfort. Like, do I feel comfortable in this space? It's one thing to be, feel inspired and to like work hard in your studio. You definitely want that. But also, do I feel like I could sit and just look at my work and just have like good vibes? Kind of like a vibe check and stuff like that. So yeah, I felt like that was also really important. So yeah, that's the 4 different criteria. We're gonna do just basic 1 out of 10, with 10 being like perfect. This is like Pinterest, I guess, like the perfect Pinterest example of, you know, a studio versus just one where it's like, oh, I'm really struggling to create. You know, in all these places that we're going to talk about today, I have been able to create in them. Stuff has gotten done. And so we're going to just get started. Okay, well, so the very first studio that I ever had, everyone's got to start from somewhere. And of course, it was my childhood bedroom, which I had just like, you know, basic standard size bedroom. I had, you know, like either a full or a twin bed. It varied throughout the years, and like a desk with my computer and TV. And that was basically it for the whole room other than my vanity. And so what I would do, my very first studio, we all have to start from somewhere. I would get like this like basic tarp, like I think it used to be a shower curtain. I put it on the ground, and then I pop up my like travel easel in the middle of my bedroom and then I use my desk to hold my paints and supplies, and then that would be my studio. Of course, I don't have many pictures of this, but I do have pictures of what my childhood bedroom used to look like. You know, get you an idea of like my desk, just like this very small nature of the room. So not really a studio, but I did get, it was like where I started. So I knew I wanted to start from somewhere to show you guys. And so yeah, just my childhood bedroom. I had my little twinkle lights on the walls with like posters of all the stuff that I was into at the time. Just like real baby stuff. So of course I'm talking about, this is like high school. This is high school, and then maybe some of my freshman year of college. Freshman year of college, I was commuting to college, so I still lived at my parents' house. So yeah, if I had to work from home, it was in my bedroom, most likely. And so for space, I'd probably give this like a 2, you know? Like I barely had any room to do the painting that had to be done in the room, and I had like the bare minimum of supplies. I had no space to stand back and look at my work from a different angle. Like very, very minimal space, probably like the smallest amount of space that I had like probably in all of these studios. And for privacy, I would give it like pretty decent, like a 7, because I had a door and I could close it. You know, in some of these studios, I didn't even have that privilege. So like a 7, you know, I'd probably give it a 10 if I lived alone, but I was still at my parents' house, so there was still the possibility of someone coming in, maybe seeing me paint, you know. So like a 7, not too bad. Plus, yeah, my bedroom is like in a very high traffic area of my parents' house, so a lot of people walking about probably would disrupt the artist at work. Okay, natural lighting, like I give it a 5 because I still had a window that had like morning light that would come in. The rest of the day, not very good. Yeah, just a basic 5. I feel like run of the mill. Still got some daylight coming in the morning if I wanted to paint in the morning, but other than that, just like not very much. And then for coziness, I'd probably give it a 7 because it was my bedroom and I had my bed there, so I could sit back and relax, and I had like a little TV and stuff that I could put stuff on. So still pretty cozy. I mean, just because a place is small doesn't automatically mean that it's completely like cramped and not cozy, you know? So it's like, oh yeah, the space is small, but it's still pretty cozy. So yeah, I give it a 7 overall with a 21. So yeah, not too bad for being the very first place that I painted. Okay, place number 2. We're gonna be talking about ASU's painting studio that they have for all their students. I feel like I needed to talk about this next because, you know, shortly after I got accepted to ASU, took painting classes. And this is the studio that I would paint for the classes in. And I feel like all the other studios that I lived at, different places I lived at, are all just going to compare to what I also had available on campus. So if you see with this painting studio, very open, high ceilings. We had a lot of supplies available to us, like these giant metal easels, you know, that were just like first come first serve. You just grab them, and then there they are. And then we had different places to wash our brushes and stuff like that. So very utilitarian, everything we could need. That's the kind of stuff that we had. But yeah, it's a painting studio, so as long as you had access to the building, I'm pretty sure you could just pop in anytime. I mean, I didn't come into the painting studio like too late at night. I like to sleep, you know, like a normal person, so I might stay late during class, or maybe like meet up a friend there to like also paint with, but that was like more or less it. So yeah, pretty basic painting studio. Basically everything you see is everything that we had there. Okay, so for space, I'd give it a 6. Because if you're there after hours on your own, of course you could take as much space as you want because you're probably going to be the only people there, outside of the classroom. But if it is during class time, it can get pretty cramped for space, and then that means like you got someone like on all sides of you also working, so it can get pretty cramped if the class is full and we're all working on really big paintings or something. But also it was like 2 different classrooms. Yeah, like a 6, maybe 7, For privacy, I give it a 3 just because there's always people coming in and out. If you wanted to work on something very private, very unlikely that you'll be in there alone. Like you might be able to like be the only 2 people there or something. Like I said, like very unlikely for it to be completely full, but also there's most likely going to always be somebody else there. And so which can be a good thing. That's a good thing for the class and for learning, of course, like to vibe off of other people. But if this is the only place they have to paint, you don't have anywhere else, like let's say you're staying at the ASU dorms or something, then it can be a little annoying because you're like, okay, like this is the only place I get to be creative, and it's like very open. There's like other people there who might be fighting for space with you or something like that. So yeah, it gets a 3. Natural lighting, I also give it a 3 because the windows were north facing. I mean, that's very specific to ASU's studio. I mean, not all like open studios are like that, obviously, and like with the fluorescent lighting. So you don't need to have the natural lighting because they have the fluorescent lights. Natural lighting is also, it's pretty nice. I always found myself when I was at ASU gravitating towards painting next to the windows so that I could get some of that light to just shine on my canvas that way. But that was more or less what I had to deal with is like north facing, so no direct sunlight at all. Coziness, I give it a 2 because it's not very cozy. It's like metal, concrete floors, wooden storage bins, the metal lockers. So it's not very cozy. It's huge with the high ceilings. All the sound reverberates, so you could probably like hear every conversation anyone's ever having. So yeah, not very cozy. Very much a utilitarian use of a painting studio. Which I mean, it's a classroom. What are you gonna do? I mean, not to like bash it. I'm giving it such a bad score with a score of 14. It's just very utilitarian. That's about it. Okay, so next for the other studio that I would have had. So when I was really starting to work on paintings and my childhood bedroom was not cutting it, but also I wanted to do some work at home, maybe especially over the summer when I did not have access to the painting studio at ASU. My parents very much gave me the front room at my parents' house. So the front room at my parents' house is as soon as you walk in through the door, there's just it's not really a room, it's kind of like a corner. It was originally meant to be a dining room. So basically imagine you painting in the dining room, but also it's in the front of the house, so you're kind of away from everything else. Everything else in the back of the house is where most of the people hang out, but also as soon as you walk in, boom, there's my easel and stuff in my desk. I think that was when I got my the glass desk that I love so much. That's when I got that, and I put it there in that front room. But also my parents had this the large black leather couch, which you're gonna see quite a few times because I took it with me when I moved around into different apartments. So yeah, this front room, north facing. I got my very first very basic furniture items for my work. So this is me actually starting to make some sort of home studio. So I started getting the proper supplies for that. So that was really exciting, very monumental moment. So yeah, I would say this is probably sometime my freshman year of college, maybe the summer between freshman to sophomore year, I would say, when I wasn't painting on campus that often, because really my freshman year I didn't have too many painting classes. It wasn't until a little bit later that I really got those painting classes. Okay, so this place, for space, I give it a 5 because it was a dining room, but I did have my desk and I could still work, but the big black couch did take up a good amount of space. Plus, if anything outside of that was a different room, basically. So I give it a 5. It did the job, everything you pretty much need. For privacy, I give it a 4 because, again, you're right. I was right there where people would walk into the house, and at my parents' house, it's like the house where everybody comes over. Yeah, it's like the central hub of my family, so a lot of people came in and out, and so I really didn't have too much privacy because, like, if everything I was working on, anyone who was coming over to the house could see it, basically. So yeah, I give it a 4. Natural lighting, I give it like a 2. It was north facing, but it did have like a window there that I was facing, but no natural light at all, so I give it a 2. And cozy factor, I give it a 7. Not too bad because it did have the big black leather couch with the L-shaped leather couch, which was pretty comfy, so I could sit on that and look back at my work that I was doing, So yeah, so not too bad. Yeah, so with a total of 18. The next place was the very first apartment that I ever had. I had a roommate, so we got a 2-bedroom apartment over in Tempe. Yeah, not too big square footage wise, but we made do with it. So of course, when you have a 2-bedroom, we didn't have any space really reserved for us to create. So we kind of just had to like stick our easels and like our creative spaces into like random places. Like my roommate, she worked basically in her closet, which had like a good amount of space. I think it had like the minimum amount of space that she could have used, but like no airflow, especially during like the really hot months. And I put my desk, this beautiful glass desk, in our living room, basically, because, yeah, I had no room in my bedroom because I had my desk, my computer desk. So I just, like, stuck my glass desk in the living room. So it was kind of, like, just, like, a part of, like, the living room furniture. And sadly, I don't have too many photos or videos of this first apartment. I did only live there for, like, 8 or 9 months, basically enough to do 2 semesters my sophomore year. And then we moved out. So I think I have like a video of when I put up Halloween decorations that you can see, like basically a little panorama of the living room. So basically I'm talking about our living room, and we had windows that were south facing, which you think would get us direct light, would you? But no, we're completely tucked away in this like corner, like L corner of the apartment complex, and there was like a balcony above us and directly next to us, like, adjacent, like not adjacent, perpendicular to us. So we got like no direct sunlight ever, which is like insane, because we picked it because we're like, oh, it's south facing, we should be able to get some sunlight. Nope, we didn't. So it was like so dark. I think we probably saved money on electricity, but it was like so dark, like the darkest place I've ever lived. So with space, I give it like a 3 because I did have enough room to put my desk, but I was basically in like the walk flow of like the kitchen to the hallway. So like usually you would be able to just like walk around that corner, but no, my desk had to be there because there was literally no other room to put it. Yeah, that's it. It was just like very minimal space that I had. And for privacy, I put a 5 because I did just have the one roommate at the time, but we did have like some friends over, like at the time. But if I was like working, I still like I knew like my roommate's schedule and and like classes and whatnot, and what I had classes, so I could work there if I wanted to, but a very like basic thing because I would have to like work around her schedule and my schedule. For natural lighting, I give it a 0 because we got no natural light at all. Nope. It was so dark in that place. And then the two other windows on the other side of the apartment that had nothing blocking it. Like we had no balconies, no other apartments blocking the other apartment. They were north facing, so we got like no direct sunlight coming in that way. It would, like, we could have the windows fully open and like nothing. That's about it. And cozy factor, I give it a 10 because it was basically in the living room, which we tried to make as cozy as we could with the budget that we had at the time. We put our Christmas tree in there. It was still pretty cozy. Okay, we got 3 more. Bear with me. And then next one is my second apartment. I moved out from my roommate, and I got my own apartment in Tempe, which was a very nice apartment, also very expensive. I do have some if I have any regrets in my life, it was probably because I stayed there, honestly, because it was very expensive. I probably shouldn't have stayed there. But yeah, it's a very nice 1-bedroom apartment that I had. Again, I took the black leather couch with me. This is like the 4th studio where I kept the black leather couch. So I told you to make an appearance, but this is the last appearance of the black leather couch, because afterwards I did get rid of it because it's huge. The black leather, like, I don't know if all these photos are doing it justice, but it was like gigantic. It was like so big. And so, like, yeah, I don't even think Christian and I could have taken it here if we wanted to. Like, it was gone before we even like started dating, but like it would not be able to fit in this apartment. This apartment is like way too, like, it's like kind of like a maze, you know. We got all these like little rooms and nooks and stuff, but there's not like one big area that couch would be able to be in. Oh gosh, I'm just imagining it now. Yeah, so my 1-bedroom apartment, and so I had to put my studio stuff in basically where if I had a dining table in the apartment, that's where my desk had to be. If that makes sense. That's so funny. That's the second time that if I had a little dining desk, that's where the desk, my art stuff had to be. That's so weird. I didn't think about it that way. Ideally, I would have preferred if I put like my computer desk and the art stuff where the bedroom was, and then put my bed in the living room. I thought about this later, but because I had the giant black leather couch, I couldn't like do any other configuration because that was the only place that the couch could fit was in the living room. Yeah, that's something besides the point. But yeah, so for space, I give it a 10 because I had enough space to have the desk and to also walk away and like look at it from very far angles. You know, I had like, it was like the living room space was like pretty wide enough that I could walk away from very far away and be able to assess the situation. For privacy, I give it a 9. Maybe not a 10 because like the art stuff had to be in such an open communal space. If I had anyone over, boom, the paintings had to be right there. So like my mess, you know, like if I didn't like, I wasn't too tidy. I mean, you've seen my studio, you know, I don't like organize everything in like little cubbies or something. So like if I had anybody over, they had to see my art mess. And so I like to think of that as like incorporating it into the privacy area, is that like it had to be in a very open part of the apartment that it couldn't be like just a me kind of thing. So that's why I marked it down 1 point, so it's a 9 out of 10 because I still lived alone, so it was like only when I had people over, which was like the very rare occurrence. Natural lighting, I give it a 5 because like I had east facing windows, so in the morning I got that beautiful direct sunlight, but because I had to put it in like that dining room kind of nook, it didn't get any real like direct sunlight, if that makes sense, at any points of the day, because it was like more in the apartment than by the windows. So that's about it. Like if I did put it in the bedroom, then I would have probably had direct sunlight, like perfect. It would have been perfect. So yeah, I give it a 5. It was very good. And in coziness, I give it a 10 because yeah, it was part of the living room. Any like of these studios that have the black leather couch, then it's like, yeah, yeah, it's a good comfy factor because the black leather couch was able to like bring like a real coziness to the room. So yeah, I give it a 10 for a total of 34. Okay, second to last, which is the place that I had before I moved here. So I worked here for like a good 2 years, basically. Yeah, maybe 2 years, like 2019 and 2020 before I moved into this place, was my mom's craft room. If you have, I kind of like, I feel like my Instagram really grew while I was painting in my mom's craft room, her crafting room. So like if you've been following me for I guess it would be like 2 years by now. It makes me, I'm like, oh yeah, if you've just been following me for 2 years, then you've surely seen the studio before. but I'm now realizing the odds of that are probably pretty low. My bad. But yeah, my mom's craft room. So when I moved back in my parents after I graduated, but before I moved in here with my wonderful husband, the only space that I could paint was in my mom's craft room because my grandmother was staying at her parents' house as well as my uncle, my dad's brother. So all of the bedrooms and all of the extra space was basically being occupied by everyone else. But I still needed a space to paint because I'm a painter. And as you see, I had I couldn't paint in my bedroom again. Like, that's ridiculous. So my mom graciously let me basically paint in her she calls it her craft room, but it was basically like it was a storage room that I was able to like squeeze myself and my easel in. That's basically it. So it was the room completely next to my bedroom, so basically like same wall of my parents' house. And yeah, I had very little room to paint, so I had just enough room to throw my easel somewhere and my desk somewhere, and that was about it. So yeah, all the photos that you see of all of me storing all of my paintings like upright, leaning up against a wall, because my mom was like insisting that she was gonna paint the walls like a new color someday, like very soon. So I couldn't put anything up on the walls, like even like the little command hooks that I do, the little adhesive command hooks that I use to put all this stuff up. It's very temporary. I'm not nailing any holes in these walls. She was like, nope, I'm gonna paint the walls soon. You can't put anything up. So that's where that's where all that imagery comes from, is because I couldn't put anything up on the wall. So that kind of shows you the kind of space that I was working in. But ironically, I probably did the most painting I've ever done in that studio. To be fair, I did paint in there during a pandemic when I couldn't see anyone, and the only thing I could do for fun was paint. So that's also a reason why I was able to paint so much in this room, even though it wasn't like the perfect of scenarios. Okay, so on to the rating. For space, I give it a 4 because I had barely enough room to put my easel down and my desk, and so I remember I had to move that easel so many times just to like get the right angle to be able to hold a canvas on top of it. Like I struggled with that so much because it's just I had barely any room, and that was like the only corner that I could paint in, because like behind me I had like a clothing rack with like wet drying clothes, and like in the closet was like all sorts of storage stuff of my mom's. Like everything that you could ever imagine was in this room. So that corner was like the only corner I could work in, especially because I want to be close to the window with like the lighting, And my mom did not let me move any other furniture in the apartment. Like it took me a lot of finessing to get that corner, honestly. And for privacy, I give it a 6 because yeah, it was a room and I could close the door if I didn't want anybody to really bug me, but also I was at my parents' house, so like anyone could still walk in, and it was like my mom had access, like she would, like I said, she would dry clothes in there, and she would like come in all the time to like, grab something and, do the laundry and put clothes up, so like, it was mostly my mom just like coming in and out whenever she pleased, because it was her house and whatever, and she wanted to see what I was working on. So like, yeah, so that for that it gets a 6 because it's still a decent amount of privacy, but also like my mom. Yeah. Natural lighting, I give it a 5. I got same window as I had with my childhood bedroom, so same amount of light that I was able to get, plus I was able to like squeeze into a corner that I was able to get direct lighting on it if I really could try to. And then for coziness, I give it a 2 because of all the stuff that was in there. It's just like there's just so many things, like all of my mom's crafting things. It was basically, like I said, a storage unit. So like I like really like tried to focus on my work and then just being surrounded by things. I'm very blessed that this room, there's not much in this room. There really isn't. Like if you could see what I see right now, like most of the room is empty because I like to move the furniture a lot. I like to move the easel, like depending on if I'm filming today or if I'm painting, and I got my little tray on wheels. Stuff gets moved around here a lot, and I'm very glad that I have the space that I have in here, and like not like storage and just like stuff everywhere and on the ground and on tables and everything. So that gets a 17. And last but not least, we got this wonderful apartment. Whoa, look at it, it's so great. Yeah, I mean, you've seen it before. I've been sharing this place for a year, and yeah, for space it gets 10. Whoa, it gets a 10 because I can really paint any size painting that I want to in here, like as long as it get through the front door. You know, that's basically it. Which I don't think I'm gonna paint anything bigger than that would not be able to fit through a door. But even so, like I would just need to take the canvas off of the stretcher and roll it up. You know, I know how to cheese it. I know. So yeah, and like I got such high ceilings in here that I can even do a really tall one if I wanted to, and get a freaking step ladder and paint it. I got so much space in here, and I can move stuff around. It's so great. For privacy, give it a 10, because even though I do live with my husband, this is its own room. So like I can close the door if he's like doing a raid on Destiny 2 and he needs his own privacy and I need my own privacy because I'm working. I can close the door. Whoa, my gosh. Whoa, privacy. So it gets a 10, because really the only other person I have to worry about is my husband, and that's like, he's like the love of my life, so he totally gets everything that I have to do. And natural lighting, it also gets a 10, because I got a south-facing window that gets plenty of sunlight during the day. As long as it's daytime, I get direct sunlight in here. Isn't that so great? Especially during the winter when the sun is like nice and low and it hits it at that perfect angle. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then for coziness, I think I'll give it an 8, because I really don't have like I was saying anything with that big, beautiful black leather couch was like got a high score, because that couch was just so cozy. Gigantic, took a lot of space, but very cozy indeed. So I don't have like the single person equivalent of a cozy couch. I like, for chairs, I literally just have this chair. This is my husband's gaming chair that I have acquired because he doesn't use it. And then I have like my metal chair, which you've probably seen before, because that's usually what I use. But today I decided to use my gamer chair. Why not? So my dream, if I save up some money, is to get like a bright, like a mustard yellow armchair and put it somewhere in here. Like I saw one on IKEA. And it looked very nice, and I don't know, I feel like mustard yellow would go really good with the studio, because like, I got such bright, colorful paintings. A lot of these paintings have blue in them, so I'm gonna try to avoid blue, because I already got this that's blue, so I'm like, oh yeah, yellow would be pretty nice. Plus, like, I've had my 1,000 balloons in here for a good amount of time, and like, I don't know, I like the yellow, like the gold it brings to the room. And I don't know, it just really brightens up the space. So yeah, if I had like a nice armchair, then I think this place would get a 10. But no, it's good. It gets an 8 because it doesn't have a place to sit nice and comfy. But it could if it had just like another furniture item, I think it would be like super cozy. Yeah, and then with a total of 38 out of a possible 40 the studio gets, because I don't think it could get any better than this, honestly. Okay, so I think if I've done my math correctly, from my rating that I've given all of these painting studios that I've painted over the years, from lowest to highest, it's gonna be ASU's painting studio. I'm very sorry, ASU. It's just like a utilitarian space. I'm a homebody, and I love painting from home. I love just having a me space that I get to decorate. At ASU, I can't decorate ASU. It's just cement and fluorescent lights and metal easels. But all the great people are there at the ASU, so none of this rating had anything to do with people. Because I'm like, people come, people go. People aren't always in a painting studio, so I didn't rate it that way. That's on me. That's just my biased rating system that I made today. So yeah, ASU's painting studio. Number 2, my mom's craft room, which is a shame because I did so much work in that space. It's just like it had a lot of things in there, not too much space, but it did the job. All these wonderful places did their job, and that place did its job, and I'm very thankful for all of the work that I was able to get done. So that's a good example that, like, even though like it was the 2 places that were very low on this list, I probably painted like the most things. Number 3, my mom, the front room at my parents' house. Yeah, not too much privacy, no natural lighting. Yeah, number 3. Number 4, my first apartment with my roommate. Yeah, I didn't live there for too long, and because it was so dark in there, I probably painted on campus instead. Yeah, and I didn't live there too long anyway. Number 5, my childhood bedroom, which is so funny. I'm so surprised that it made it so high on the list, but I think because it was so cozy but also private. But like the worst rating would be like the small amount of space that I had. Oh yeah, just like I think my rating system's probably pretty flawed. And then second to last, my second apartment was because I lived alone, and it was a nice, a nice apartment. Yeah, and I had plenty of space, plenty of privacy. It was like in my living room basically. So, and then last, meaning the best, would obviously be this apartment. This bedroom in this apartment, of course. It's so great. So yeah, that's all my past studios and what I rank them. And it goes in, I hope you enjoyed like all the little like clips and stuff and photos that I have, so you can get a better understanding of all the different places that I've had to be creative in, like I hope this wasn't me like complaining too much about it. It's just like now that I found this like wonderful apartment, and we did renew our lease, so we are going to be staying here for many more months. So that's great. That I just wanted to celebrate this apartment for today. Like why not? It's just like it's very good to have like a good space. Plus, this I feel like this could give you some idea on like what to look for when you're painting, and maybe you're like, oh, I wonder why this place doesn't really vibe with me, kind of thing. Maybe this gives you some ideas. Plus, goes to show like even like the most like uncomfy of places, you can still get a lot of work done as long as you put it really depends on if you put the time into it. All right, well that's all my past painting studios and what I rank them, depending on my random little scale that I just gave it off of the top of my head. And so if you found this video helpful or just fun, or you do enjoy my studio as much as I do, then please give this video a like and subscribe to see more of me and my work, and I'll see you next time. Okay, goodbye.